So this is the second video about model forms in Django, and if you didn't watch the first video, please watch it in order to understand what we are going to do next. So I will put the link on the first lesson in the description, and let's start. So the first things that I want to show you are related to meta options in model forms, and let's start with the fields option. So as you can see here, we basically listed all the fields from our student model in order to show all of them. And you can see it here, all three fields. And though it is suggested to list them like this, you can also just say all here without this, and you can see that we specified that we need to return all the fields from the model student. You can also omit fields option, but in this case you will get an error here, and if you don't want to use fields option, you have to use exclude option. And in this option you show which fields should be excluded from the form. For example, if you pass the empty list, and let's restart the server, then we will not exclude anything, but you can also say that we should exclude the name here, and then the name will be excluded. And there are other options that you can specify for a model form. For example, you can specify widgets for each of a field here. For example, for name, we can specify that we will use forms text area widget. So it's not a list, it should be dictionary here. And now you can see that we changed a widget for a name field. If you don't understand how widgets are working, then please watch the video about forms in Django, the general forms. There I explain what widgets are. And you can specify more stuff. So let me show you. Let me copy these things. So for example, you can specify the label for a particular fields. You can specify help text and error messages in case some particular error happens. This stuff. And as you can see here, we specified a label for a field. We can specify different label. Here is a help text, and in case you specify the name over 100 characters, then you will get this error: the student's name is too long. I can't really make this error works because I can't specify more than 100 fields, 100 characters, but I guess if you can do it, you will get this custom error here. So this is about meta options, and let me show you other stuff. The next thing that I want to show you is inheritance. So for example, I have here this student model form, and let's say I need to have the second form but without graduated field. So in order to do that, we can just inherit from the original form, and here we can inherit from meta class student model form meta. Basically the meta class inheritance is happening in the same way as it is happening in the models. So if you don't know how it is working, you can watch my video about inheritance for models. I will also put a link in the description for that lesson. So here we don't need to specify model because it was specified here already, but we can specify that graduated should be excluded. And here, for example, we can specify this new form, and it is already without graduated. The next topic will be about initial values and editing things for already saved object. So for example, if you have this form, for example, and you need to have initial name John, we just write initial name John here, and you can see that we have it here. The other way you can specify initial values is you can specify actual instance of the object that this form should take. For example, let me open new terminal and let's open the shell from student objects all and get h21, for example, this guy. Let's take its ID. So we have here this student with ID 19. And let's take it here. Let's get this student objects get primary key 19, and we can specify instance student here in the form. And in this case, the form will take all the fields from our model, and it will put these fields values into the fields of a model form. And if you want to actually update student but not to create the new one, you can actually specify the students here, for example, and put it not only in the form to display, but also to the form for getting the data. And now if we, for example, change the name John here, it's saying here that the student was created, but actually student was updated. And if we get the same student object with ID 19th, now we can see that now its name is John. So very easy way to update student here. And the other thing that I wanted to show you is that you don't even need to create the form here in order to create, so you don't need to create this class with forms model form in order to actually use model form of a particular model. What you can do, you can import model form factory, and here you can create student model form factory and just specify the model and specify, for example, fields all. Then you can initialize this form, and that's it. The same thing that we had before, but now we didn't write actual model form, but we just created it through the model form factory. So the model form factory also is being used for creating a model form sets. As for example, we had this form set factory in order to create form sets from the general forms. We have model form factory in order to create form sets from the model forms. And this will be the topic of the next lesson, so stay tuned and please support me by giving me a like. Please post a comment saying how you felt about this video. Please subscribe, and thank you for that.